Yo, it's your boy Marcus from Morstany back with a video. Today we're going to be talking about DMZ Recon in COD Mobile and my overall thoughts on the mode as a whole and what is good, bad, ugly, and in between for this mode and what I kind of expect going forward, plus my initial impressions, right? This was my very first game of DMZ Recon, not including the tutorial. Like, I played the tutorial right before this. You have to do the tutorial to start playing the mode. So just an FYI, if you're like, I don't want to do the tutorial, I just want to play the mode, you have to do the tutorial. So just keep that in mind. That's just going to have to be something you have to do regardless. Yeah, tutorial is kind of just whatever. It's super quick and easy. It's very simple. It's not even really worth noting, but it will take you, like, I don't know, 5 minutes to do it, since it's like they like block it to where you can't do anything without going through their little narratives of how to do and how to play the mode. So it may be helpful to actually read some of that. Me personally, I'm just like, just get me in there. I don't care. So with that being said, let's talk about the mode and some perspectives that I've seen, right? So I was, watching some popular YouTube. Bobby Plays made a poll or something. And I was reading what people thought about the mode and what they were playing. It was like, what are you playing the most in the new season of COD Mobile? And it was like 70% multiplayer. And then the next highest one was like, I don't know, 15% DMZ. And I was like, man, if you're introducing a new mode, a whole new mode, right, you would think that that would be the most played thing for at least the beginning, right? And for it to be at 15% of at least his viewers voting in that poll, there's no reason for anybody to lie in that, so it just seems weird, right? And it kind of goes back to what I was saying before this mode came out. I don't think this is a mode that has enough replay value to keep people wanting to come back, but that's where we're going to dive into what the developers are doing to kind of shed a light on that problem with DMZ and how to make it a more replayable mode, because I think they're trying to do so much to make it better, but it's not quite there yet. There's no push for it, and that's something I really want to touch on. So if you guys played Modern Warfare 2 2022 on console or PC or whatever, that was the first game, and I believe maybe only game on console Call of Duty side to have a DMZ mode, and I personally didn't like it. So I had very low expectations coming into this as something I would enjoy. Now, I've only played a couple of games and I have enjoyed it. I do think having friends with mics and talking is super important. So when you are playing this mode, like playing it solo, like by yourself, I just feel like it can be super boring. Just fighting AI and really, it's slow. And that's kind of fine, right? If you're just looking for that, just kind of slow, kind of doing your own thing, it's not a big deal, or you're not taking it serious in any way, absolutely going to have a blast playing this mode. I think you'll have a ton of fun. Now, if you are more of a hardcore player, I feel like this mode isn't necessarily for the most hardcore players. Like, I haven't gotten to the point yet, if it even exists, where it's PvE. Like, I'm playing against an other third team of real people. Everybody that I have seen is AI in the DMZ map. So I want to make sure that's kind of been notified and, people know about what to expect, I guess, going forward. So hopefully it will get to a PvE point where you're playing against other people and everybody's on the map, right? And it's more of like a fight to the death to see, who can do what and what happens. So that's what we're kind of hoping for overall. Now, I do think with the changes they've made, like the rarity system for the weapons and things like that, camos being introduced, an actual rank system to go along with the DMZ Recon mode, that's going to add in a lot more replay value to the mode for most people. Like, if there's something I can hit legendary in, then I'm going to hit legendary in it, and I'm going to either find a way to enjoy it, or I might just enjoy it as a mode as a whole, and that's going to be something that just happens. So I think a lot of people might be that way, and they'll just find a way to have fun, right? And shooting AI, it's just kind of whatever. So it's more of I feel like a cool kind of chill out mode. But these are super long games, right? If you play it all the way out and then extract at the end of the timer, the reason this video is so long is because the gameplay itself, it took me 25 minutes. So I literally played one game in a half an hour. That's absurd. That's an insanely long game, longer than BR. So I do think, that kind of thing. Hopefully they introduce like a blitz version, or maybe if I play the mode more and I can extract earlier and have quicker games and still put up the same amount of production for what I want out of the mode, I think that'd be pretty cool. So that's something I think just going forward, optimizing how you want to play the mode and doing things as fast as possible, getting better and better and better at it will make the mode more replayable, and you'll want to play it more just because you're enjoying it more and you're good at the mode. That being said, with this being DMZ, there's a lot of looting. So this is a very heavy loot-based game mode. Like, you are going through a ton of loot and just kind of sorting stuff out a lot. So that's something to kind of keep in mind going forward when you're playing this mode, that loot matters a lot. And there's so many different types of loot. There is countless types, right? There's like blue mushrooms or blue tomatoes and just all kinds of weird stuff. You name something weird, it's probably in here as loot that you could pick up and put in your little inventory. So that's something to notice. Whatever the highest value items, that's what I kept. There's a secret section where you can put your higher value items in and keep those going into, like, no matter what, if you die or whatever, going into your next game, you can keep them in your inventory and I guess just sell them for more money going forward, in turn increasing your rank, I believe, which is the goal, right? You want to rank up. So that being said, as we saw earlier in this gameplay, I did die to one of the AI. Now, I've seen a couple of comments from people saying that the AI is too strong. I totally think it's fine. Sometimes, like, I just got lit up from behind by the AI, but I could turn around and snap on him and it was fine. So I feel like there just needs to be a balance. Sometimes the AI can be strong, sometimes the AI can be weak. If it's a boss AI, it should be strong. It should be harder. So that's why I died to the flamethrower dude. You know what I mean? Like, he literally touched me with that flamethrower. I felt like I was gone immediately, and I just burned up as I went through the next doorway. So I definitely think it was very strong, but I don't feel like it's that big of a deal. I feel like you can kind of get through it and still enjoy the mode, even if the AI was a little strong. That being said, you'll see here, with the AI, sometimes it's like, man, it's just super easy. So that is something to note. When you're first hopping in, keep an eye out for your ammo count. I didn't have my HUD set up correctly, so my fire button was a little too close to where I normally just place my thumb down to aim with my right thumb. And so I kept firing automatically. So that's why I said it's super important to get your HUD together before you hop into the mode. That being said, here, you'll kind of see, the AI is not that strong, obviously. Like, I just ran right by them. They didn't shoot me at all. So I do think anybody who has a problem with that is probably just bad, straight up. That being said, I do see a couple of things that I do want to cover with this mode. Ammo-wise, keep an eye out for those ammo stations that they have. I feel like with the AR ammo, you don't actually see a lot of it on the ground. It's actually heavy ammo, as they call it. So, anytime you see that, grab it, because I feel like I was always out of ammo. Like, it was just, I never had any after pretty much this point in the game, right? So we're 8 minutes in. The next 16 minutes of this video, I feel like I'm dying for ammo. Like, I'm just scraping off the ground for scraps just to get an extra mag, or to even have a mag, right? I'm going to start meleeing here in a minute. So that is something to note. It would also be more helpful. That's why I said if you have teammates with mics, you could communicate, hey, I have no ammo. Do you have a bunch? Can you give me some? You know what I mean? Because you'll have teammates that are more focused on looting, less focused on shooting the AI. Teammates that really just want to shoot stuff. So they're going to go out there and they're just trying to get as many kills as possible, right? DMZ, you got 20 kills. You killed all the AI on the map or whatever the case might be. So it's all in how you look at it, how you want to choose your own play style going forward, right? There's a lot of different ways you could probably play DMZ and have more fun with it. So however you want to do it kind of changes the way the game mode plays. Now, let's talk about the map. I do really enjoy the map. I think it's a solid map. I think it's a lot of fun, a good mix of up-close spaces, wide open spaces. I feel like it's pretty good. I think the more reps I get onto it, the more I'll have to say about it. But right now, I think it's a solid map. I just need some more reps on the mode overall, just to kind of see, what I think could be better, worse, or anything like that. Flow overall and how it feels going from like POI to POI, things of that nature. Let's talk about the guns, right? So when you shoot like this AI right here that I just shot, you can't pick up some of their guns because they're higher rarities than what you're able to have access to at your early levels. So like, I'm rookie, right? Because I'm starting from the bottom. This is brand new mode where everybody's rookie. So you hop in, you shoot an AI, and they'll have like a rarity that's blue. I think it's literally called rare. And then there's like legendary and mythic, just like those same styles. That is a kind of weird. Like, why can't I pick up that gun? Like, the gun's there, the guy was just holding it. I can't pick it up for whatever reason. So hopefully there's something that we see switch around with that, and access to just being able to pick up guns on the map. Like, I only have one gun for this entire gameplay, I believe. Now, let's talk about the, like, how do I describe this? Bugs, I guess we'll just say bugs and optimization, kind of include them together. That's one of the big qualms with this update as overall. Like, there's been a lot of bugs, right? There's been a lot of optimization issues with the mode, DMZ Recon. I do think they'll get fixed, right? I mean, they consistently put out updates once a month. But I do think, we'll probably see a couple of hot patches over the next couple of days. They don't usually do that. They like to just put out one update per month. Big, huge update. It's nice and clean, usually doesn't have too many bugs, and boom, you're good to go. But I do think they're going to have to put out some hot patches to fix some of this stuff. And during the holidays, hopefully they get them out quick, because during the holidays, how these development studios are. They like to just take a break for like a month and then come back later, and they just leave the game broken, right? We've seen that on console a lot. So hopefully that doesn't happen here, because that would really dampen the mode and its ability to succeed. The launch of the mode is super important, the most important time of it. So I do think they will be on top of things this to go around. Now, let's talk about the gas. I kind of want to touch on that real quick since I just saw it. The gas does move. As you can see in that top right corner where my mini-map is, I got a 3-minute timer. So that's when the gas moves again, and you just have to keep staying away from it in these later parts of the game. So that's something to note if you're going to be, playing this, that you'll kind of have to deal with that. Now, the gas isn't like super strong, but it does do some solid damage, and I'm sure it gets stronger as it takes over more of the map. Now, you could obviously exfil before then and like end your game sooner. I don't really know how that works. I haven't really dived into that. So hopefully going forward, I can see more of that kind of thing. But for the most part, I've just played out the games in their entirety. So in an hour and a half, I play like max 4 games. Really more like 3. So it is a super time consuming and long mode. Just kind of needed to put that out there. Now, let's talk about a little side Easter egg thing that I have noticed. So the enemies are Atlas Corporation guys. So if you did play Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, you might remember the Atlas Corporation were the bad guys in that game, I believe. They could have been good. No, I think the Sentinel was good and the Atlas were bad. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section down below. But seeing them here, they have jetpacks on. They have the exosuits straight out of Advanced Warfare, copy and paste style. So seeing that made me think, like, are they going to start bringing in like AI that jumps around and stuff like that? I haven't seen it yet, but that would be pretty interesting. Are we going to get exosuits that we can find on the DMZ map? That would be pretty cool. You know what I mean? So adding in some really unique features like that could be interesting. It would be like playing Uplink, the Uplink game mode that we have in COD Mobile, where you can kind of wall run and stuff like that. You couldn't wall run in AW, but you would have like an exosuit so you can like fly in the air. So that's interesting to see. I would wonder, if they're looking to kind of include some more Advanced Warfare stuff. Maybe we get some Advanced Warfare guns in this game, like the ASM-1 or the BAL-27. That would be pretty cool to get those guns back. Those are some very well-known guns. I would love the KF-5 SMG. That would be great. That being said, that kind of covers what I was thinking for, the Atlas Corporation, that kind of Easter egg. Like, I think it's pretty neat. Here you'll see me, you'll see this AI, like the shield ones are annoying, and he laced me. Look at how low my health is. Like, you definitely notice that sometimes the AI does not miss. Other times they just look like that and they don't do anything. So it's a very interesting way to look at, how this game mode plays. As you can see, this guy, pretty strong. Back to low HP. Always remember your plates. That's why I said check your HUD, because the plates, I keep forgetting to put them on, and it definitely hurts me. Here, out of ammo again. I don't know if I get ammo again for like the next 5 minutes. I have to run all the way across the map to get ammo and then try to save my teammate here at the end. So that is something to keep in mind. I do think this mode is good, just to kind of get to the point of the video, but I'm probably going to title it. So the mode is good. I do think it's fine. There are bugs and optimization problems. When you release an update this massive, I totally feel like, you know, you got to expect that, right? It's not going to come out perfect. They will slowly perfect it, just as they have with Codm Mobile optimization as a whole over time. So something you'll slowly see get better and better and better. And, you know, that's a good thing, right? As you'll see here, we're going to take some hits with the gas. So you can pay attention to my health bar and kind of see, you know, I do lose like maybe 2 HP points every few seconds. So you definitely have time. I think that's fine, because you know that, you know, this map is pretty huge. And if you get caught up in the zone and have to run a lot to get back ahead of it, you know, you don't want to just die immediately. That would suck. That being said, this is a massive map. Like I've played like 3 games and I haven't even covered like half of it. I just end up in like kind of the same areas. So I should probably go seek out like that boat over there or whatever that is and stuff like that. I haven't really done enough searching around the map, but I have enjoyed the POIs so far. It does feel like a lot of buildings, but the buildings don't feel like samey, you know what I mean? Like I'm running into the same building over and over again. So that's nice. You really don't want that feeling. You want to kind of feel like it's all new and fresh and you're like in a different place now. And here's the refinery, or here's whatever building, you know what I mean? So I do want that kind of feeling with the mode, and I think most people would agree that's the best way to go about it. I do love the different characters and like the actual like way the AI looks. Like that guy was like a napalm suit or whatever that gas suit was. So pretty cool. I think they did a solid job with that as well. Having to melee people kind of sucks. I'm not a melee guy, so not really enjoying that. Hopefully going forward they kind of do something about that and make it, you know, improved in whatever way they need to. That being said, I've kind of covered a lot of that side of things that I wanted to cover. Gameplay and what you're kind of seeing now, you know, this game's winding down, right? We're 17 minutes in, which is absurd, like how crazy long this mode is. Yeah, like super detailed. I feel like there's a ton of detail put into this mode. They really want this to succeed, I think, to kind of bring more of the player base back or help retain their numbers, whatever the case is. I feel like you can see the amount of effort putting in. I think it will pay off in the long run if they continue to put in this level of effort to this mode. I definitely think that you'll see more people gravitate towards it over time as it improves, because right now it's, you know, the worst it's probably going to be is right now. You know what I mean? Over time they'll slowly make it better and better and better, and it'll become a more and more enjoyable mode to play. So that's a really good thing, right? I think everybody would be pretty happy with that going forward. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got for that. There are some bad things, and I think a lot of people have harped on it that I've kind of already talked about it. But good things that I really do enjoy about it. I feel like the ability to kind of just do your own thing, play your own way, feels nice. The map feels good so far. I do feel like, you know, my expectations for this mode were super low, right? I didn't like DMZ coming into this. I didn't think it was going to be a mode that would provide enough replay value for people. I had the lowest of expectations, and right now I feel like they have exceeded them. So I'm excited to see what kind of happens going forward. Do I see this as a mode that I am hitting legendary and then continuing to play over and over and over again and just loving it and grinding the crap out of it? No, I don't. But I do see it as a mode that, like, it's a nice change of pace mode to go alongside MP and BR. However, I do feel like zombies would have been the better mode to improve on, right? If this mode was already in the game and zombies is already in the game, we have seen on the console side the replay value of zombies, right? People have been playing Black Ops 3 for almost 10 years, and they just haven't stopped because that zombies game was so good and so successful and so amazing that people just, it doesn't matter that's the same thing over and over again. They enjoy it. It's so much fun. They'll play it over and over and over again and not get sick of it. And I feel like zombies offers that a lot more than a DMZ mode does. So I do think that is an L. Just the overall sacrifice of the zombies game mode in COD Mobile, and it just becoming like nothing, right? They just don't do anything to it to improve it. And the introduction of DMZ into COD Mobile is only going to make that worse. So hopefully, you know, this is a blossoming success, and then they kind of lead that into fine-tuning the zombie side of things next. Then they have 4 really good modes, right, for people to play, and they can kind of continue improving COD Mobile as a whole, right? Because like I said years ago, this is a game that could never die, right? People could play this game on their mobile devices for the next, I would go so far as say definitely 10 years. 10 years from now, people will still be playing Call of Duty Mobile. I am that confident in it. Barring some insane, like, I don't know, buyout or something crazy, just stupid happens, there's a pretty good chance that 10 years from now, this is still a top mobile game and it will be that good. And people will always find a way to come back to it because it's just kind of like a staple, right? The only game that I think that could have released on a mobile device to compete with COD Mobile overall is like a Grand Theft Auto, like a full-on GTA 6 mobile would absolutely destroy COD Mobile, right? But other than that, which we're not getting, nothing's competing with it. So I'm pretty stoked for the future. Here, I had to let my teammate die. You can see me aiming in the distance at a bot. I do believe I cut off some of this stuff. It was so long. I literally got over here with like 200 seconds left, and I don't know how to like increase the exfil time or just exfil earlier at this point. So I'm just stuck waiting in here for this timer to go down. Super annoying. Hopefully that's something they can change. Just put like a little button in here where I can hit it and just exfil immediately when I get here instead of having to sit for literally like 5 minutes. I think the button was at like 200 and something seconds when I got here. So that's like almost 5 minutes, right? 60 seconds is 1 minute. You get my point. That being said, I've kind of covered a lot of that stuff. You can see me moving stuff down into my insured slot, and those are things like I want to make sure I keep. I'm not sure what that does, how to sell it. I haven't dived into that stuff too much, but I will go over it at the end of the video since they do kind of go over in the tutorial. So that is something definitely worth paying attention to in the tutorial, is that selling mechanic. So you can kind of figure out, you know, what you want to keep, and like, you know, so you don't get like duplicates of the same thing over and over and over again. That would be kind of important. Now, let's talk about some of the other things we can kind of see here. As y'all are looking, right, you see helicopters, eggs, little health packages, hard drives in there, classes. I mean, just like all kinds of random crap. But I do think, like, you know, if it comes down to it, like, what if you collected every single item in DMZ? You know what I mean? That would be pretty cool. You know, I think people will definitely see some video of that coming out at some point where somebody goes through and collects every single item that you can possibly find. That being said, we're finally exfilling. For some reason, when you exfil out of here, you go straight into the gas. I don't know why that is. Maybe you just maybe they didn't think that one through. I don't really know. It doesn't make sense to me. But it is kind of funny. Just you immediately fly straight into the gas when you're exfilling. Pretty cool right here. 24 minutes and 52 seconds. Oh my goodness. That's insane. That is insanely long. Now, I'm not like I play COD Mobile for a stretch of like 4 hours straight, 10 hours straight at some point in times in my life. And so, you know, obviously that's not that big of a deal, but it is crazy to have a mode that lasts that long. I finished with 10 kills here, and you can see my XP going up a lot. Still rookie, still learning, you know, as I go. But super fun, super replayable. I think a lot of people are going to enjoy this going forward. We're going to kind of dive into some of the other things that are in this mode in the like settings screen, right? It doesn't even look like COD Mobile. I got to be honest with you guys. This looks up like straight up Warzone. you know what I mean, like Warzone feel to it. I think with the downfall of Warzone Mobile and that kind of not being a thing anymore at this point, like they are super intent on integrating that stuff into COD Mobile. I am a huge advocate against that. That's one of my biggest gripes with this mode. Would much rather them kind of focus on zombies, if anything. It is what it is. I think that's just something we can't change. There's nothing we can do about it. But I do think following like the Warzone style mechanics, a DMZ mode, any sort of Warzone-esque features is not good for the overall longevity of COD Mobile or any Call of Duty game. Warzone is dead and gone, man. Just let it go. Let it die. It was awesome for a while. It lasted. Just let it move on. Here, we're going to be looking at some shop stuff right here. So you can see, you know, the purple, the blue, the red, the orange, rarities and stuff like that. You know, this is stuff you got to pay for and unlock and kind of go through and grind out. So we also have armor, so you can put on some more armor plates. Probably pretty helpful, especially if you're doing like the boss fight. Haven't done that yet. I'll get into the boss fight in more detail at a later date when I do a more overwhelming review. Like when I hit legendary in this mode, I'll do like a big overall review to kind of cover like, okay, now I've got this much time in, instead of more my initial impressions and what I've learned, which is what this video is. Here, you're kind of seeing, you know, the rarities that they have for certain guns. Not every gun in the game is included in this. So, you know, you can kind of take it with a grain of salt, which you can kind of grind out, and, you know, what you need to do to earn more items so that you can get your mythic rarities and stuff like that. There's also, make sure you download all your resources. I definitely think that's very important to do when you're, you know, starting into this mode. That way you kind of see everything that it has to offer. That being said, I feel like I've pretty much covered almost everything. You're kind of seeing me put in like my character that I want to use for this. You can see here like the characters don't even load in properly because I think this update's so big that they're not even ready for what all they just put in this game, and they got a lot of work to do to kind of make up for some of the mistakes that they're making. It is what it is, not too big of a deal. So many features in here. We got the black market back from BO3. Got the same dude in it too, which is kind of funny. I can't remember that guy's name, but that's pretty funny to see. Gallery, warehouse, missions, leaderboards. I mean, there is so much that they're trying to jam pack into this mode to make it successful. I definitely think they will have some success with it. The question is, how long is the community willing to play a more, you know, player versus AI mode? I think it's definitely way more chill, not like a super tense mode that you'll see out of people. So that's something I just kind of wanted to put out there. Coming down to the end of this video, this is like, I don't know, one of my longest videos I've ever made. Not my longest. I did that COD Mobile retrospective. That was like an hour. Oh, but this right here at 30 minutes, still crazy. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you've been playing this mode, if you've gotten to unlock the other map, Building 21 or whatever that is. Haven't really looked into that. I've only played the main one. So super excited to see, you know, what else they have to offer. I'd love to hear people's thoughts on the mode, tips and tricks. Feel free to leave them down below. Definitely will help anybody who's watching this, myself included, so we can kind of learn from each other and figure out things as we go, because there's going to be a big old fat learning curve to get better at this mode, which is, you know, what you want when you're bringing in a new mode. I think you want people to enjoy it and learn a lot. So that being said, thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications if you want to. It's been your boy Marcus Moistini. Hit that hype button. I'm out of here.